Okay. Is there anybody who needs anything before we get started? All right, cool. Comfortable?
Wonderful.
All right. Sounds like a plan. So let me go ahead and do this introduction. All right. I'm sure you guys all know what this man is. Does anybody know? We'll take care of it. All right. Is it lemonade or a tea? About one lemonade, please. All right. So does he look like the picture? Yeah. Yep. Somebody know your family. All right. So this gentleman, Brent Reaves, is from Smokey John barbeque. The family owned and operated establishment that was founded back in the 70s by Smokey John Reaves. I'm going to ask that question later. So I have all kinds of questions about the 70s and everything. Okay. So he's been in business for over the past 2 years, co-owner. And he's a second generation owner. He says, I like this quote. He learned how to bridge old school hustle, persistence, and determination with new school technology and ingenuity. So now, merging those skills, there's triple just growth sales of the family business in the 4 years after buying the company from his father. Yeah, picture, sorry. I think it is.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. And so basically, and he loves to share those skills with others, people who are already in the business and people who maybe need a little bit of motivation. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce. I'll let you come on back now and I'll change it. So come on, your big head won't block your big head. I'm just kidding. And he's sitting down today because he injured himself, okay? Why? Because he was recently on Good Morning America on a tear down, knock down, drug out fight for best barbecue in America. You know what? You know why that leg turned? Because he kicked it behind and he won that competition. Really?
I'm so excited to be here with you guys. I wish I really had a really good story for why my knee is hurt. I actually went bowling. Isn't that sorry? Like, I wish I had a better story. Like, how do you get injured bowling? Like, nobody gets, like, you wasn't playing tennis or basketball. Bowling, you by yourself, and I still hurt his leg. But that just means I'm getting a little bit older. That's all it is. That's it. That's all it is. Well, so glad to have you guys today. She was asking, but when people eating, they don't really be paying attention because you're eating. You don't really. It's hard to think and eat at the same time because you're trying to figure out all the different flavors. Do I like this? I don't know. Maybe it's too sweet. Question: does anybody know Smokey John? Like, have y'all heard of Smokey John before? Okay. Good. Okay. So we were on Good Morning America maybe about 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks in a row. Had an opportunity to do a competition against Pecan Lodge. If you heard of them, we actually beat them in the competition and headed to New York to compete against 3 other cities that had won. And we got second place in New York. So that was a lot of fun. Just to tell you a little bit about us, so Smokey John, we're a family-owned and operated business. We've been in business since 1976. My dad is John. He was a serial entrepreneur. I mean, he would just start businesses, all kind of businesses. Roofing business, he had his own mortgage banking business, had his own insurance business, everything. And so how he got started was, to thank you for doing the roofing job, he would smoke you a turkey or a ham and just give it to you. And then people would be like, man, this is good. He started getting all these calls back for turkeys and ham and not roofing. And so I was like, wait a minute, I need to do this whole restaurant thing. So he started doing the restaurant business and got rocking and rolling, opened up the restaurant. Week 1, he had a fire. And the smoke was all through the restaurant. So when a friend of his walked in the restaurant, he said, man, you need to change the name from Big John's Barbecue to Smokey John's. And from that day on, that's why they call him Smokey. So he changed the name, and so he's been going ever since. We had a lot of great years. And then, so Dad in 1985 gave his life to the Lord. Completely changed his life. He was in the club business, bar business, all that. You know, making a lot of money, especially at that time. Making a ton of money. Shut everything down and went absolute bankrupt. And so he started to try to build the business back up after that with a more family concept, and did pretty well. And then we kind of went through some really tough years. I came into the business in 1999, so I've actually been doing this now. In December will be 23 years in the restaurant business. And so my brother and I got in the business and started to do a lot of things. The business at the time when we were, we actually went through a period where the business was probably losing about $8,000 a month. Business was really struggling. Really struggling, barely able to even make payroll. And then from that point, we did a lot of things to really change how we were doing business. You know, because with restaurant industry, you guys see it, like food trucks, restaurant, everything changes within 2 years. Like if you're not looking and making the adjustments and the changes, you get left behind quick in this industry. Because there's always somebody coming right behind you doing the same thing. Dope pickles, right? You are the 7th person this week that I've talked to about making pickles. So it has to be something unique. It has to be something amazing and a different flavor. But you know what it was? I liked it. It was called Dope Pickles. Right. That was dope. I was like, oh man, I like that. But you got to have something that's unique that catches people. Right? So my brother and I, we took over the business in 2013, and from there we tripled the gross sales in the business. I've been on several cooking competitions. I've won 4 national television shows, and I lost on Guy's Grocery Game. So if y'all haven't seen that episode, just turn it off. Don't watch it. It was bad. It was real bad. But we've been in the industry for a long time, and at this point now, we're growing, developing a business, and actually starting to expand our model. We have the restaurant business, but we also have booths at the State Fair of Texas. We probably are the 2nd largest turkey leg provider at the State Fair of Texas. And then we also have another company called Roost Tamales. So we make homemade tamales as well. We have that company at the State Fair of Texas as well. And then we cater all over DFW. From Frisco to Pottsboro to Houston, wherever we go, everywhere we can.
And Brian, if I could just a shout out, it was your family's meant a lot to our community.
Yes, sir.
Remember, we used to go down for Bible study once a week. I know the place, and your dad has been faithful. The whole family has. It's fun. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Bree, thank you for acknowledging that. Dad passed away in 2019. So that was definitely tough. He touched so many lives, I would say across the country, but he traveled all over the world speaking to different organizations, kings and presidents and all over the world. So really cool to be able to follow his footsteps. We had some really big shoes to try to fill.
Yeah.
And I left that alone. I just put his shoes to the side. Not even trying to mess with those shoes. But thank you for that as well. So at this point now, like I said, we're starting to grow the business. How many of you guys have been in have actual brick and mortar? Do you have a restaurant? Okay. Does anybody have a food truck? Working on it. Okay. Is anybody selling probably like from home right now? Okay. Nice. Okay. I want you to tell me, how's that going?
I'm sorry. I want my house.
Yes.
I want my house. It's going good. We're expanding, so we now are working at 2 homes.
Nice.
But I want my house.
Yeah.
I have 4 kids, and it's organized, but
Sure.
it's just taking over.
Yes.
So.
Yes. And a lot of times that's how people start.
Yeah.
I mean, and why do you start right there? Overhead's low. Tough thing about trying to start to get a brick and mortar or even to get a food truck is the cost of the startup costs, right? We're going to talk about a little bit about this. So some of these things, I'm going to go through some of the things we're going to talk about, but I really want to know what you want to know, right? Because there's some things that you're thinking about, like getting started. I may not have talked about that, and it's really difficult to get people to like give you the inside game, like the real deal. Like tell me for real, how do I do this? How do I take this step? When do I know that I'm ready for a store, right? So one of the things that I would always suggest, right? Whenever you build a house, what's the first thing you need that they do? Foundation. You don't never see nobody building a house with the walls first. Why is that? It ain't gonna stand up. All you need is one good gust of wind or just a big dude. You push your house down, right? You need a solid foundation. That's why the first thing you do is you need an LLC. You gotta get an LLC. Limited Liability Corporation. You ready? Come on, man, let's get in there. Okay, Limited Liability Corporation, right? Limited Liability Corporation. Why would I need an LLC?
To protect the person.
Yes. Yes. Let me tell you what I am. What's your name, sir? Daryl. Daryl? Yes. Come on here, Mr. Daryl. I know, man. Get you all of you in your tetrazzania stuff.
And while you're doing that, there is someone on the phone.
Oh.
You got your Zoom people, that's right.
Hey, y'all.
One of them has a brick and mortar.
Okay.
Right, she's got a beverage, she's got a coffee shop, we also have a mobile bartender, you got all kinds of people.
All right. All right. A lot of them. Okay. All right. Hey, y'all on Zoom. All right. So you have an LLC, right? I mean, if you don't have an LLC, and I'll get into it. If you don't have an LLC, you're cooking, right? What if somebody is sick? Who they coming after?
If you don't have one.
If you don't have no, you.
Not the business.
No, they coming after you. So what that mean? That's your house. That's everything that's personally owned, they're coming for it, right? So that's like, it's like this. What's your name?
Kimberly.
Kimberly. I found out me and Kimberly cousin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found out cousin February. So, okay, Kimberly, what I want you to do is like, come after me. Come on, get up.
Problem.
They come after me. You gonna hit me right. It's over. All right? Now watch this, Kimberly, go back. What's your name, kid?
Oh, goodness.
Darren, come on, start here for Mr. Darren. You stay right there, Mr. Darren. Okay, come on, Kimberly. Now you look at Kimberly, right?
I'm coming after you, but I need this first.
You gonna meet him. You gonna meet Mr. Darren. Daryl is an LLC. All right?
Protection.
That's protection. He's protecting you from direct attacks to you, right? Right? So you gotta have an LLC. You don't want them coming directly after your stuff. All right? Yes, ma'am? So you can. That gets a little bit. So that's an additional step. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna come back to that later on, right? But that you can't do that. You can set up an LLC and then you still can have a DBA. You still do business as another company. So I actually don't have an LLC, I have an S corp. Our S corp is Smokey John's Barbecue. I'm sorry, Smokey John's Inc. That's my corporation, right? But I do business as Smokey John's Barbecue. But everything is in the corporation. So that is protected under the umbrella of the corporation. Right? You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's kind of how you want to do it. You just want that you want that extra protection, right? Because you don't want anybody coming after your personal assets, right? Because you know what the tough thing about somebody getting sick by eating food? People can get sick up to 3 days. It could be 3 days. They could have eaten something 3 days before, and that's what got them sick. But guess who they're gonna go to? It's not that old chicken that they ate 2 days ago. It's your food. It's your salad. They got sick on your salad, not that old egg salad that they ate. Shouldn't have ate. It was a little bit green, but they ate that anyway. But it wasn't that, right? But you need that protection, okay? So the members are only impacted by the investments in the company. So you as a member of the LLC, what they can come after is what's in that LLC. That's what they're coming after. Like, if you got $100,000 in that LLC, that's what they're after. Not after what's in your personal bank account, right? So that's a covering that you definitely need, right? So you're not personally responsible for the business liability, right? Also with the LLC, there's some different tax benefits that you can get. You want to talk to your accountant and see how they can work your taxes, right? You have more things you can work with, things you can claim. There's a lot of cool things you can do with the LLC for tax benefits, okay? If you're looking at set up an LLC, it's gonna cost between $200 and like $1,500. You can do it on LegalZoom by yourself. I could. I don't know. I don't do law, you know. So I usually try to find someone who's doing that. I find a nice, good attorney that can help set it up, because there's a lot of little things you want to make sure that are set up, and you don't want to make any mistakes in that. That's one thing you don't want any mistakes in, is in setting up your LLC. Okay. The next thing, be properly insured. Even if you're cooking out of the house right now, you want some insurance. That's another line of defense, right? You need some general liability insurance. Again, if anything happens, people are going to try to come after you. Okay. One of the things, so in 2017, we had a fire that took out our business, right? Actually completely had to gut the whole place out. We have a 5,000 square foot facility. You know what the problem was? I didn't thoroughly read our insurance. There was a clause in our contract and our insurance policy that negated a $300,000 policy. So I had to get a loan. Me and my brother had to get a loan just to rebuild the place. That was crazy. I was taking a class in Goldman Sachs. I was at a Goldman Sachs class, and one of the classes was know your insurance policy. I was like, nah, I got that down. I'm good. I got the insurance. I'm good. And I did not fully read my policy. And it cost us a ton of money. Most of the time, that can take your whole business out. It really can. One little slip up like that can take it out. But we were able to get a loan and be able to come back. And so, you know, we recovered from that. But that, I've definitely learned my lesson on that. You need a standard, you need the general liability, you need standard coverage, which $1 million per occurrence and $2 million aggregate policy limit for general liability. That's pretty much what you need. So if does anybody cater? Okay, that's the insurance that you need to get. You've got to get that insurance, because most venues are going to require you to have that level of insurance in order for you to do the event, right? So you want to have at least that level of insurance coverage for you, so that you can make sure that you get those contracts, right? And it doesn't matter if you're doing it out of your home. If you have that legitimate policy, it makes you look even more ready. They don't know. They don't know. Just send them that policy. They see that policy out. Like, they're covered. She got that insurance. She good, right? So that's something that you can definitely be ready for. And then when you get to the point where you need commercial insurance, you want to make sure that you take care of all of the contents. So one of the problems that we had was we tried to cover the value of our property as it was. We didn't do the value of what it was for replacement. So whenever you're doing you get your food truck or you get your business, make sure you have a coverage of whatever it would cost to replace the whole thing, everything. Okay. Another thing when you get ready to get your food truck and you get ready to do your business, you also want to always add business interruption insurance. So if you have your food truck and you have anybody who's on Zoom and you have a brick and mortar, check your policy. Make sure you have business interruption insurance. That will keep you from losing everything. Business interruption insurance will cover your revenue loss. It'll cover payroll, and sometimes it'll cover some of the overhead, like lease, your lease and your rent. I'm sorry?
I said, can you give us some examples of what is interruption is?
Okay, so let's say you had, let's say you have a food truck. Let's say you're parked and some truck goes out of control, wrecks and rams your whole truck. Can you work the next day? What if you had an event for like 300 people set the next few days? Can you do it? You can't do the event, right? So business interruption is gonna pay you based on what your revenue had been within the last year. And sometimes they'll go up to 3 years. But they'll cover those costs for you. So they'll send you a check and they'll also pay your payroll, right? And so that's whenever you have those major tragedies, it's great because a lot of times people have tragedies, they don't have business interruption. They can't pay the people, so then now what's gonna happen? They gonna find a job somewhere else. And by the time you get back on your feet, now you gotta find a whole new team. Right?
So was business interruption service, insurance available during COVID? Was that a part of COVID?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Now, there were a lot of insurance companies. There was a big fight. That's what y'all saw on TV. So, but it's like January, there's a bunch of fighting going on over that because a lot of businesses were shut down outside of their control, So, but the government jumped in with a couple of things.
It might be similar to general liability, but I've been seeing some promotions for food liability insurance protection, like the flip. And I'm like, is it necessary to have both since we're doing food?
You can. There's nothing wrong with that as well. There are so many layers of insurance that you can get. It's just another protection. It's just another protection. There is definitely, I don't know the exact title of it, but there is a specific insurance that you can get for that as well.
Oh, I have insurance, flip insurance as well.
Okay.
So you have the flip and the general?
I have general liability and liquor liability.
Yeah, all of them, as many as you can.
Smart.
Because right now, people are people are trying to see you for everything. I had a dude just about 6 months ago that just came and fell on the floor. Man, come on, man.
My neck and my back.
My neck and my back, it wasn't wet. I said, he's ill as back. I'm sorry.
I just wanted to share a story about insurance. We had an event, like he said, we instead of renting a truck, we figured, we could fit it in our full size truck. We had 2 of our bars. I had a mobile bartending service. We had 2 of our bars in the back of the truck, and it was a couple of months ago when it was extremely windy. We had these crazy windstorms. Well, we double checked everything. Everything was strapped correctly. Going down 121, and these winds are just flying. Well, it was blowing so hard, the strap fell beneath the bar. That bar came flying off the back of the truck. Thank God nobody was injured. Thank God nobody was behind us, or it was early in the morning, but it was a tragedy. I was like, I don't ever want to go through that. But again, with insurance like that, I'm just thankful that we had that. Thankful nobody was hurt. My bar was in pieces on the freeway. But yeah, definitely just the little things or things that you just don't think about. And we thought, we're good. We're good. Everything's strapped up. Everything's secure. We're good to go. And it wasn't. So.
I can't tell you how many times I hear this story. Like I literally just meeting with a guy who just started his food truck, and he had got licenses. He was out there. I was like, bruh, let me just tell you. I mean, that $2,000 that you make is gonna be nothing compared to what you're about to lose. I mean, you can. Those are nightmare stories. Thank you for sharing that. One of the other things is workers' compensation. That's when you get to that level, you want to get it. And anybody who has a brick and mortar, if you have a food truck, if you're on your way to start doing these things, this is something, a lot of times, you know, even my parents, it's like they didn't, it's things they just didn't know. They just like, well, we got this insurance, we got basic insurance, like, okay. But then workers' comp, you start to realize when things happen, look, it keeps, anything that happens financially, happens with your team, it covers it. It covers you. I just had, I had a team member who did slip and fell by the bathroom, and workers' comp covered. The other thing that you see on this is it keeps team members from being able to sue you for damages. That is huge. That's huge. Workers' comp is big. It's a must. In the restaurant industry, you got too many people coming and going. Too many people coming and going. And tell me this, how many people that work with you, if you're doing your job, how many of them are really trained? I'm actually, that's a quiet truth. Because why? We mostly use it as a friend or anybody who's available to get this food out, right? If you have hands, let's go, right? But sometimes people don't know the proper techniques of cutting and using a knife. So accidents happen. But the best thing is for you to be prepared for it, okay? Gonna go to the second thing. So basically breaking into three things today. The first one is like setting your foundation. So those are just business, those are foundational business things. As you guys are getting ready to set your business up and you're getting ready to go to the next level, you're gonna do it. You're gonna go to the next level.
Just a quick question back to the workers' comp and somebody getting hurt. Is there some kind of required training in the restaurant business like OSHA is for, oh, no,
The restaurant business.
no,
It's
no
always,
safety training.
it is good to have a lot of safety training. We run safety videos, we have fire safety videos that we run quarterly. So that's always good to do all of those things, but just in the restaurant business, with the pace, things are gonna happen.
But if you have the insurance, does it make your, if you do the training, does it make your insurance any cheaper? When you show that we've had training and safety, we take precautions?
Sometimes depending on what.
Okay, so they give a discount.
Absolutely. Yeah, sometimes it does happen. So there were a lot of things that we set up even after we had our fire. A lot of systems that we put in place that we showed to the insurance company just to actually be qualified to get insurance anymore. Because our loss was $1 million loss. So it was difficult to even get insurance after that fire.
Had a hand over there.
I was just gonna say, in the underwriting, a lot of times in order to get insurance, they want to review your health and safety
Right,
training that you have.
that's what I was talking about.
Yeah, sometimes they do it, sometimes they don't require it, don't ask us for it. So it's always good to have it. Definitely a need to have it. Okay. And again, like I said, these are just three major groups that I think for businesses. People, product, and process. If anybody watches the profit.
Before we do that,
Okay.
so we're not cooking from home. We moved to commercial kitchen and we're looking to get a brick and mortar. And I see under beware of undercapitalization, number 2.
Oh, I'm
I'm like, please let me know.
I'll miss long enough. Okay. Yes, beware of undercapitalization. That is, oh my God. Okay, so
Were you gonna skip that?
I don't know how I missed over it. That's probably the most important one.
Right.
Okay, so that's the most important one. Is anybody know the Bible, the story of David and Goliath? You know that story? Okay, so like David went to this fight, right? What did he use? Slingshot, right? Okay, so what do you use in a slingshot? Stones. How many stones did David have? How many? No. 5. He had 5. Why did David have 5 stones? Okay, whatever. That's why. In case he missed, he had 5 stars. Now he hit him on the first one, so that was nice. But he had 4 more chances if he missed that giant on that, right? Do not get into business and be undercapitalized. Take your time. Stack your cash, right? Because once you get that overhead, you in there. Life changes with that overhead, right? You have to have a lot more strategy once you start dealing with this overhead, and you have to be tighter with your business. Because once you have overhead, now you're paying for what else? What's number 1? Rent. Rent plays no games. And it's funny, they want that every month. Regardless if you're doing well or not, right? There's a guy in my shopping strip that they just shut down. Just shut down. And I was like, oh man, I hated to see him go. But I was watching his business. There was a lot of things that he wasn't doing. He didn't make it through COVID. Didn't really believe in social media. I was like, okay, you don't believe in it? I don't. And it took him out, right? If you're looking for a lease, okay? That's the next thing. If you're looking for a lease, you want to do 5 to 7% of your annual revenue, okay? Like monthly, right? So if let's say you're making, do you think that your business is going to make about, let's say, $120,000 a year? And I'm just doing it for math's sake. Okay. So that's like you were doing $10,000 a month. Okay. How much does your rent need to be at least? It needs to be around $500. It needs to be about $500. Your rent needs to be between 5 and 7% of your annual revenue. So when people are starting, you're doing business out of the house. Okay, you know how much money you're making right now, right? You know how much. What you want to figure out is how much am I making for a year? Okay. You want to get a food truck or you want to do a storefront? You want to do both at the same time, or you want to do one at the same time? Okay. Longer. Yeah. So, what you want to think is, as each entity, how much is this one place gonna do? How much can you project that you might be able to make within a year? That's when you start to look forward. Then you go, okay, you know what? I think I can afford a rent that's about $2,000 a month. Okay. Sometimes we start looking at these because it's exciting, and it's like, ooh, I'm gonna have this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna get this place. And it's like, okay, well, how much volume do you gonna bring? And a lot of times, what happens is rent takes people out because they can't cover the note. They can't cover the note. They can't cover the note, and they can't cover all the insurance, because that's why most people let the insurance go, because they can't pay it. And then you look up, and it's grand opening, grand closing. And that's why I was like, this is like not just, I don't want you to, like, we put a bunch of energy into getting, oh, did you get the balloons? Did y'all get, is the mayor coming? We do all of this into get this big grand opening, but we don't keep it. Because we didn't look at the details of how do I keep this? How do I keep going? Right? Those are the things that we're talking about. Like, how do I keep it going? How do I stay in this? Now, how do I just start this? Starting is easy. Guess what? Those landlords let you sign any kind of, oh yeah, come on in. Yeah. And you be stressed out, hair coming out, and look, I've been there. I've been there. That's why I try as much to share with people. Look, before you get in there, like she doing on a couple houses, making that money. That's real cash, right? Because what you're doing is you're creating a foundation and a customer base, right? That is the beauty of starting at home, okay? Oh, one of the things I would also say is, even if you start at home and if you start to get bigger and people start to find out about you, you may want to start looking at commercial kitchen space, okay? Because what will start happening is your name is getting too big, and if your name's getting too big, then the people are gonna find out about you. All the people, you know, and then so when they start finding out where you are, they'll find you, and you don't want, you know what I'm saying? So you want to have a strategy for, okay, you know what, we're growing. It's always a nice first step to be able to take the rent of a commercial kitchen space. It's just you don't have a long-term lease on it. You can just go in there, cook your food, do what you cook your product, get in and get out. And it helps you kind of learn how to use a commercial kitchen in the first place and see what it takes for the upkeep. So I definitely always suggest people to rent commercial kitchen space.
Okay, question. So, with the LLC, do you recommend using, if you're doing it from the house, a home address or a virtual address?
Virtual.
Okay.
PO box.
But some companies don't allow the PO box.
When you're trying to get business spread, the PO box not good. You know what I'm saying? Like you need they got some kind of anytime mailbox, we get to that anytime.
Yeah, anytime there's not something that's not linked to your house, you don't want to have that.
PO boxes now have physical addresses now.
Oh, they do? Okay.
Yeah, they will.
Oh, will they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or and then you start, even if you like I have a corporate office, right? So my corporate office is very cheap, but all of our corporate bills go to that office space too, right? So you can set an office up if you needed to, because you're growing to the point where you're probably you need your house back. You know what I'm saying? So you take little jumps at a time. You know, so if you got your cheap office space, you can use that address for your corporation, because that's going to be your corporation. That's your straight headquarters. You're good, right? But again, like I said, I would definitely start looking at the commercial kitchen space, though, because if you're going to sell to dope pickles, what's your name? John. Are you making them out of the house?
Sir.
Okay. So the next step again is to go to a commercial kitchen space. I can't buy from you, right? Like if I wanted to sell your pickles out of my restaurant, which I would love to, because I want to try them, because I'm gonna go to your website and I'm gonna try them and I'm gonna taste them, but I can't sell them because when the health department comes in, they see me selling something, they'll ask me, where is this being produced?
Right.
So now as a restaurateur, I gotta see where that's coming from.
Yeah, that's one of my next steps. Commercial kitchen.
Yeah.
So
And you
even
can,
with the insurance would cover that?
well,
If he had the insurance?
not for the health department. The health department doesn't want any food that's not produced out of a commercially inspected kitchen. Right? You have that with the food truck?
I don't.
Okay, how does that work?
So
for
we
you
do
guys?
more private events, we're bartending.
Okay.
And, we don't have a storefront, but
Okay.
our clients purchase the alcohol, we supply everything else.
It's alcohol. Okay, so if you have a food truck, most food trucks have a docking area that they have to bring the truck back to. That's a licensed commercial kitchen space as well.
I use one.
You use
Pay for it monthly,
there you go.
4 hours.
I
Very
have
good.
two as well, but one of them that I use, like, to use our address too. So that's another place that we use an address. So online, that's what address is getting.
There you go. See, that's why you come to these events, man. Y'all know. You got a question? No, you're just preparing your food there. You can't, it's not a storefront. No, it's just a place where you can prepare your food and then take that to your customers. Because when you start to get the higher end customers, you have to have it inspected. You have to cook that food out of an inspected kitchen. Right? Because what's gonna happen is y'all stuff is good. It's good. Y'all cold, right? So there are gonna be people who are gonna want your product. You don't want anything in a way that stops a sale. Like, okay, if Mark Cuban comes to you and say, what's your product? Soul Food. What's your name?
My name is.
Okay, let's go business name. Let's go business name.
It's made by my mom, she's no longer here, but it's Mama Sonia's.
Mama Sonia's Food Company. He said, look, I need something. I gotta have it. I need y'all here. Right? And then he's gonna want you to see all your paperwork. Because AAC is incredibly thorough. They are incredibly thorough. I've been a private chef for them 3 times in the last 4 months. Very, very thorough. So you just want to have all your stuff together because you don't want to miss any opportunities, right? You want to at least be able to have a space that you can connect to quickly. If the right customer comes, you just want to be ready. It's all about being ready. If you can't take advantage of an opportunity, then what is an opportunity? It's lost, right?
Okay, so we want
So there's the bag that keeps you for warm. That's up to 4 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah. Could you do cloud kitchen concept from commercial kitchen? It depends on what commercial kitchens require, what their requirements are. There are some cloud kitchens. There are some cloud kitchens coming available now where people are allowed to buy from that space. But it's long term. It's more of a lease agreement. Yeah, it's a different. It's not like it's some in Garland coming right now. It's some in Garland. I've got a friend of mine that's opening some as well too. But they're not. It's not like so. So are you doing catered events where you're catering, or are you doing like pop ups? Ms. Vegas open. You doing both? Okay. Now, are you on site doing some of your food cooking as well? Okay. The Canberra is the best. I mean, now it's expensive. It ain't cheap at all. You won't behave, but them bad boys last forever, right? And if you get those latches, if your latches break, go to Amazon, you can buy some more latches. All right? Because that thing is like $200, right? So get a cat. You want to start off with 2. Save up some money to get 2 because you'll be able to transport your food like this. Okay? It's a Canberra. CAMBRO. All right. Okay. Okay.
I have
Yes, ma'am.
just some people have products.
Yes, ma'am.
I cater with all some of the products.
Okay.
And so before I started selling my items in the store, of course, I was kind of doing like a farmer's market type of thing.
Okay.
And so we were all good, you have your information on there. This is not made in a food, in a expected, this is what the city's telling you to do. You put all that on the label, you have address, all this, so something happens when they get your product, then they get right back to you.
Right.
But then you get ready to start selling in the store, because the pickles fall under the cottage, the breads and cakes and all those things fall under the cottage, but then when you take it to the store, it's not gonna work. And then we were doing that in the store and then found out, the city was like, no, you have to have a manufacturer label, you have to have all these different things, whereas we have to make the products now in the commercial kitchen. So it'll work at farmers markets and a lot of pop-ups and different things like that. But once you try to sell to the store, it's not gonna happen. And they would never found out, but people around, they see the food, they start, hey, this is true. Stores started calling, they might come over here, now they're going over there. People start calling, so then the city starts to show up. So you're gonna have to be the kitchen. You're gonna have to, even if it's under the cottage law, eventually if you want to do business with stores, you have to be the kitchen.
Right. We're in the process of talking to grocery stores right now, where we have sauce and rub. And so I had to get, so I got a third person, family-owned business, bottling and jarring all my sauce for me. And so I just basically sell it directly to the consumer because they have all the manufacturing rights. Look here, you take that hit on the dollar, but guess what? It's just, that's it. That's it. You got it. Okay. I'm gonna try to rush through a little bit because I know we're running out of time. The people. Over it. Okay.
I'm just picking up places, anybody really go to the like nobody.
So we got the people, product, process, right? Marcus Leonis from The Prophet, I love this. He says people, product, process, because that's really the name of the business. The business is people, product, process, right? Who are the people? They're your teammates, they're your customers, and they're your vendors. Right? Those are the people that you're gonna deal with every day. Your team is everything, right? You gotta be careful of who you select to be a part of your team, because that will tear your business down faster than anything else, right? We've had a couple of those situations, and you're not gonna hit a home run, but you want to be very selective about who you bring onto your team, right? One of the things that we did was we created our core values. Core values are like what's near and dear to you, the ethics for you, your values, your personal values, right? So for our business as a family business, family is real serious for us, right? Faith is huge for us. It's like the core of what we believe. So when I'm looking for people to come join our team, I want them to be faith believing people, because they're gonna go. If they're not, then they're probably not gonna. They're not gonna work in our environment. It's like, man, what do y'all do? You know, and you don't always hit everything on the money, but it's the values of what's true for you. Respect is one of our core values, right? So we want people that are really respectful. Our number one core value, though, humility. Like when I'm interviewing somebody, I'm looking for humility. Why do you think humility? What is that? Personality, okay.
And this one is one of the teaching.
That's it.
Willing to learn.
If you got humility, people will listen to you. They will be willing to learn. The problem is the folks that you hire that know everything. That is the most, oh my God, if I could just save you time. If in the interview process, they know more than you, immediately, don't move on to the next one. Just go, because what's happening is, now what do you do? What?
Baked goods.
Baked goods. Because what they gonna come in there and say, you girl, you doing this wrong. No. So what you supposed to do, you supposed to sift with a gray sifter. Because I don't use black. I don't use black sifters. Who is this? What in the world? And what they'll do is they'll come in like, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm willing to learn, but you'll hear those little things. You'll hear those little things in the interview. Oh, I know that. Oh, I know how to do this. I know. Next week, let me get because what you guys are looking for is somebody that can duplicate who? You. They're taking your brain, your concepts, and just duplicating. You're not looking for them to have their secret sauce. This ain't your food. You know what'll be real good with this?
Yeah.
No, I don't care. I just needed you to make rolls today. Just rolls. Right? Humility. So the thing is, set your core values. There may be some things that mean a lot to you. Specific things. Yours may be like honesty. I really need honesty. Being honest is for real. My mama used to say, if you lie, you steal. If you steal, you kill. Right? But you need to know your core values. Because if you don't know your core values, when you're interviewing, what are you gonna look for? Well, yeah, you're like, oh, I think they're nice. I don't, they all right, But your core values will help you start to link people to your organization that are like who? Like you. Now, there may be some strengths and weaknesses the strengths they have that you don't have, but as far as there's chemistry in the kitchen, right? There's chemistry in the business. Restaurant business, bartender, you gotta have chemistry, right? You get that wrong person, it's like always bumping into people in a way. Ooh, I'm sick of you, But you gotta be able to have the right chemistry on your team. That starts at the selection process. That starts with your core values, right? You also want a mission. What do you want to do? Most people have a mission. They always have a mission statement for what they want their company to be about. But a lot of times we forget the core values because that's how you actually going to select. You're going to start watching, you start looking, you're going to, oh, ooh, no. Hey, arrogant. Arrogant means the opposite of what? Humility. So, but no, I'm good. I can't tell you how many interviews I've cut off in 3 minutes. Okay, well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you. Let's, you just move on, right? Give your team, give your customers, give your vendors respect. Give them respect. If you give them respect, they'll give it back to you, right? You want to respect folks. You want to respect those vendors. Those folks bringing in the food. Take care. Be kind to those people, man. Those folks are bringing your food. Yeah, I've been around restaurateurs and managers that talk crazy to the Cisco man, and to the U.S. food guy, to the guy that's bringing in the groceries from Sam's or wherever, and they talk crazy. I don't know what these people are doing in the truck with my food. Leave these people alone. Give them some respect, right? And then your team, listen to them. Sometimes your biggest breakthroughs will come through ideas that your team has, right? You will not know everything. And your team is going to start doing stuff. They're going to see different, as they start working with you, like, hey, you know what if you did this? Oh, that's a good idea. Listen to them. We had a finalist for the Big Tech's Choice Awards off of one of our team members. It actually won. We won the prize because of them. I said, like, what would you want to do? What do you think? That's a question I ask my team a lot. What do you think? What do you want to do? What do you think? How can we do this better, y'all? Because y'all are doing it. Y'all are the ones that are doing it. It's been a long time since I cooked, I mean, I do. I cook a lot, but, But they're cooking the same recipe. They're cooking it over and over again. So there's stuff that they know, right? Product. High quality, charge a little bit more. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Know your cost. Know your cost. I just was counseling somebody yesterday. She was selling her food way too cheap. Like, you ain't gonna make no money. Cause now it's gonna be a great opening. Right? So tell me this. Do you know how to price your food?
Yes.
Yes? You don't, right? You don't? Okay. Does anybody have a calculator?
Yes.
Okay, let me show you how to price your food. Okay. Let's sell food. Tell me this. What's your high selling plate? Individual plate. Like how do you I don't know how you oxtails or lamb chop. How much does your oxtail plate cost you to make?
Cost me to make what I charge.
How much does it cost you to make? How much one plate cost?
One plate will cost.
And listen, I'm not trying to be embarrassing or any of that. This is the essence of restaurant business, and most restaurateurs do not know the cost of their plate, but they have a price associated with that. Right? And nobody ever tells us how to figure out what our prices should be. You understand? You understand what I'm saying? I'm going to come back to you. Now you probably figured it out. You go ahead and keep figuring. I'm going to come back to you if you have it. You understand? What is it?
All right, so it's like $35 for that.
Your cost, like your.
To make that one plate. You said, because oxtails, you come out maybe like 3 to 4 oxtails.
It costs you $35 straight, one plate?
So it's about $50.
So how much
That's
you
your price or your cost? The cost is how much
So
you pay.
that actually, that's the price of, but the way
Oh,
I get my
okay.
meat by the buck, I'm able to sell it for that.
Okay, so I'm trying to figure out like when you buy all of the goods, like how much does it cost you to make one plate? Like my tetrazzini plate is $2.73
To make that.
to make that
one plate.
to make that one plate.
So
Right.
I guess I'm.
Yeah, like one of my cinnamon rolls, it's 90 cents and we sell
90
it for
cents.
$5.
And you sell it for $5. How did you come up with $5?
We looked at the cost of it, so that's just ingredients. And then we
Exactly.
added the supplies,
Got
I mean, the clamshells and the label,
Got it,
and then we multiplied that by 5.
got it.
That's
Okay,
what we did.
there you go.
So I got a question for you. You said $2.73 to make this chicken chili. Is that including packaging and everything?
No.
That is
No.
just the materials, yeah.
Food cost. Your actual, but you know what I'm saying, like that's just the food cost, that's the food cost, right? So the plate itself is 52 cents for that
So
plate.
you would include your plate into your food cost?
I would, yes, it depends on how I'm serving. So if I'm serving at the restaurant, I have cheaper plates. If I have it for catering, I have a different cost because the cost goes up. Okay, because that plate is a more expensive plate than it is if you were to come to the restaurant. Right? So yours, let me get, you got your calculators? Okay, so let's say something cost you $1. Okay? I want you to do one, let's do this. Let's say something costs you $2. Okay. Do 2 divided by 0.3. What is that number? Six what? 6.66, right? So what that's showing you is if you wanted to create a 30% food cost, you need to sell whatever cost you $2, you need to sell it for $6.66.
Wow.
Or $7. That makes sense?
So hold up.
That makes sense?
Because really, my package just cost $5, right?
Right,
It's cost $5.
right.
But I'm really thinking about bumping up the team or doing one pickle for $5.
Now you understand you understand how this is game changing for you? This is why
You wanna make
grand
money.
opening, grand closing. Most people close their business because their prices are too low. Because you're not making any money,
But
right?
that's just not your clientele.
Now watch this. And it definitely, so it affects your clientele, but now you gotta figure out how do I go after my different audience? What audience am I after? You see what I'm
Exactly, what's
saying?
your ideal customer?
What's your ideal customer? Who are you after, right? You're gonna sell, your prices are gonna vary depending on where you're driving that. You know what I'm saying? It makes a difference. Because everybody's not gonna pay a certain price for your product.
Exactly.
Am I wrong?
No.
Right.
And that's
Right.
okay.
And that's okay. You just have to know what your product is and what you can sell it for. If you can also go up to 0.35, that gives you a 35% food cost. Okay, you do a 0.35. Now, some items you may go ahead and do 0.35 and others you may take 0.3. Right?
Especially now with the food costs just varying, like
Exactly.
lines I could get super cheap and then now I'm paying almost $1 per line.
There you go.
Let's talk about that.
There you go. Butter is on crack right now.
But the same,
Butter is like going nuts.
but containers
Yeah.
are plastic.
Yeah.
I have a lemonade and the bottle, because of how much it costs,
Right.
is in that cost.
Right.
It's in there, the cost of that bottle, I
Right.
get 100 at a time. It is in the cost of how much that is. It's $3 a bottle for 16 ounces, still cheaper
Right.
than what you go in the store for 12 ounces.
Yep.
But I have to include the cost of the bottle.
Okay.
We're not supposed to start yet.
We haven't talked about that yet.
I think it's time.
You got to.
So we're gonna have a part two?
But I'm giving you things to think about, so that as you're doing your business and you're at home and you're cooking and you're selling, you got to know if your product can make it in the storefront. You gotta go ahead and set the price now. Now you may take less of a cut. So you may not. So if it costs you $2, you want to sell it at $12. Like if it says you're supposed to sell it around 12, you may say 10 because you don't have overhead, and you can take that hit because you're making money that's gonna go straight to the house. You can take that hit. So you may do that now, but you want to see what your food can command. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
So if we're approaching 2 o'clock, but it sounds like you guys get right into what you wanted to know. Who has to leave a hard stop at 2 o'clock? So anyone who has to leave right at 2 o'clock? Can you give us? I mean, you want to,
That's all right.
no, you can go till 2 and then I'll finish. So is that okay if we go to like 2:10? I talk fast. Okay, so then I'm gonna go ahead and let him go till 2. She's got a question.
No worries, yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
I had a question. So I have calculated, I calculated how much it costs for me to make, because I bake pie. At home in a cottage bakery, I've calculated how much it costs for me, like ingredients, supplies, and also labor to make one mini pie. Now I'm at a place to where I'm working on logistics, like how can I crank them out faster to
Yes.
increase.
There you go.
But I'm at a stumbling block on, do I do that in a cottage bakery format at home? Or do I now start looking at commercial kitchen space and machinery that cranks it out faster, that will require like a loan and stuff? So
Yeah.
I guess I just would like to understand, like, from your point of view, when do you make that decision on, okay, how can I crank them out faster at home to, I need to rent some commercial kitchen space and look for a piece of equipment that can do this fast? Because right now, I think I'm maxing out an hour at home in my oven.
Yeah. So I'm money minded. So when I have a certain amount of money put up, then I know I'm ready.
Okay.
I just like to stack cash and put that much back before I take my next step.
Okay.
That's just me though. Like, so I don't, so one of the definition of maturity is the ability to delay gratification. Okay? So it may be easier to do something, but I'm gonna do it the tough way where I know I'm stacking money right now, and I want to build a base like she's doing right now. She's building a very strong base.
Yeah.
Right. So you want to. I mean, so now you start talking about marketing. You want to get into your social media. You want to go into how many people know you, like just connecting, which is our last thing is networking. Because networking is where you're going to start your real opportunity. Because somebody might take your pie and say, you know what? I want to give you $100,000 to invest in you to get this going. Well, that may be the very moment that just pushes you to the next level. Well, I think it's time. But a lot of times it won't be time until you create a plan and a strategy of what do you need to go to the next level. Create the plan first. Like biblically it says, write the vision and don't let it tarry. Like write the vision, write it down, put it out there, put a full business plan. Now you may not do it for 2 or 3 years, but at least you have the direction of where you're gonna go. Be uncomfortable for a minute, stack some money back, get comfortable at least for your household, and then take a jump. At some point, y'all, you're all gonna have to take a jump. You're gonna have to take a leap. You're gonna have to take a leap. That's our motto is food, faith, family. At some point, you gotta jump. Okay? But you can try to get as comfortable as you can before you take that jump. Okay? It's calculated risk, right? Some people just jump all the way out there. Man, what are you doing? What? You got 2 customers. I'm an open store.
You might gotta work
Right, yeah, it's over. They love my cooking. It's these two people. Ain't nobody even buying your food, you know? But you know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
I would just like to add that you have to know your numbers. If you're not having to turn away customers, you might not be at that point yet.
Right.
We knew when we needed to scale up because we weren't able to do festivals, and we knew that would bring in the income. So we had the numbers, and we could stack the cash to possibly get the brick and mortar. So we kind of looked at what demand was looking like, looked at our trends, and then we're like, I think it's time. It was the scariest leap we had to take, but it paid off because the demand was there.
Right. That's how you do it. It really is how you do it. Even decisions I make now on events that we're gonna do. I don't like events. That's just me. I don't, because it's not. I like guaranteed. I just don't like. I don't like events.
I don't like it.
At this point, I don't. Events are like. That's a crapshoot, you know. It's just, I just mean,
And rain and
some people love it though. And if you're trying to get your name out, we've been doing this. We've been in business 40-something years at this point. I don't have to do that now. Earlier on, I used to do it just to get the name out. I used to do it all the time. But you be very disciplined with your money. And the other thing is, when you start making money, don't start living on that money. Live way under your means, because the money you're making is your investment.
Okay, so I think that's a problem that me and my sister have.
Yeah.
So we make some money,
Yeah.
but we don't pay ourselves. So I know. So now we feel like, okay, we're doing all this work. But we're not making, we're not paying
Right.
ourselves. I mean, we have jobs too.
Okay.
So we living off that, but we're trying to stack so that we can we just want it to make sense.
Now that makes sense.
But
Yeah.
I guess, like I talked to a tax person, and because we're not paying ourselves, but we have an LLC, it doesn't look like we have a business.
Yeah.
So, but I'm learning, like, we're not business people, so that's why I'm here today.
That's okay. You're
Just
doing the right
doing what we
thing.
like to do.
Look,
So,
you got the best thing going. Cash is coming in. That's usually the hardest part. If you got cash coming in, now all you gotta do is set up the company, right? You can get a very simple QuickBooks, or
I
you
just
can
got that last month.
there you go. You can do a simple QuickBooks, or you can do a simple payroll company that will cut a check for the two of y'all bi-weekly. And it doesn't have to be that much. You just need to be running history with that LLC so that they can show you're operating as a business, as an entity. Okay?
That's what killed a lot of people during COVID. They wanted to get the money, they wanted to get the grants, they had no ledger, no documentation. I was trying to help people, but I'm like, you don't even have a DBA.
Exactly.
You don't even have anything to show you making money. Our people are doing it, making good money, but
Yes.
no documentation. How you get all this money? I'm like, my business is in order. I pay these people. I pay them.
On the payroll thing, so I've been known to guys to hire someone to cut you a payroll check. I've been basically writing myself a check from my business account to my personal. But I didn't,
You could do
does
that.
that work still, or?
You can do that. Yeah, you can cut it yourself. That's not a problem at all, because you can cut the business, you can cut the check for you. The only thing that you just gotta make sure is you're doing your 940s and 941s. Just make sure you send your quarterly reports and your annual reports, and then you're paying that stuff. That's another thing that usually sucks people's business down, is not paying their payroll taxes. Okay? I just use a company, and I put that out there just because they had all that. I don't have to deal with it.
Because he said he just could, so he's.
I just could.
All right, so I know that we are at time, and I want to thank you guys, but you can't leave. So you got a to-go container, it's for you to go, so you can eat all that good cooking. We're about to give you another to-go container. This is the next steps to take with you. So if you look on the very last piece of your handout, you're gonna see some steps, some things that we want you to do. And I don't know if you want to run through them right quick, or I can run through them, whatever you want. All right, so number one, these are things you heard him cover today. Set up an LLC, or create your steps to be able to set up an LLC. Remember, once you try to get in, what I'm going to do is say, nah, back up, okay? The LLC is gonna step in the way. Comb through your insurance and make sure you are properly covered. Why? Because if you're not properly covered, you know what I'm saying, you can be stuck out. Especially if you have, what's that new word we learned? A business interruption. Make sure that you have the right kind of insurance. Cannot be overinsured, all right? Create your core values. Remember that. Why? Because your core values reflect the product you are trying to build. And then his last takeaway is find 2 networking events that you will attend. At each event, walk away with at least 3 business cards from people you met at the event. Y'all are lucky. You're in an industry where everybody wants to eat. Ma'am, I want to drink. Okay, so believe me, you are there. People should want to keep your information. You should want to keep theirs. So do you guys understand what we want you to go home? This is not just a one and done. So just come in here and listen. Hopefully your wheels are turning. All right. And there should be some things you need to do if you're not already there. We know you all are on different levels, but I guarantee you that everybody needs to go check their insurance policy. And if you've already determined what your core values are you in line with your core values? And you can never network too much. That's why we wanted to give you guys some time to mingle. Y'all was just sitting at that table. Okay. So we'll have a few more minutes to do that, but I'd like for you guys to thank Mr. Reaves for taking out some time today. And I do think, and I know some of you guys said you wanted to bring samples. We didn't think about that, but some of you did. If you did, we don't mind you sharing. We'll be finished in just a couple moments, okay? And then we do want you to network. You may come home with a card today. I know you guys have already done your Q&A, so I just want to take a moment. This event was made possible through a bunch of people and a bunch of partners who are putting this on. Dallas College, in partnership with the Dallas Collaborative for Equitable Development, we call them DCED. And that's because they want to create long-lasting wealth or generational wealth in our communities. This series is targeted at people who live or have a business in Oak Cliff, West Dallas, or South Dallas, or surrounding communities. Does that mean that somebody else can't come? Absolutely not. Okay, that just means that we know that there's a need in certain areas to bring these services over. And there are some better pieces to this. I heard you guys asking questions. Well, how do I set this up? Somebody said, well, I need to know my numbers. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. There are going to be some things that everybody needs to know. So like I said, this is not a one and done, but today is the beginning. It is the beginning because this is a whole speaker series. We want to help you build your business brick by brick. Today was not just a grand opening by Brent. This week I told you we've got a trucking seminar that's going to be coming up. After that, it's open for any industry. And you'll get emails, we'll send this out. Next month on Tuesday, how to use the media for your business. All social media, website, branding, those type of things. Then this next young lady may look a little familiar. She's going to help you get set up for success. Business tools and resources. I own a strategic consulting agency. My job every day is to work with small businesses to take them to the next level. All right. Then we're going to talk about sales, the lifeblood of your business, and the importance of customer service, something that is missing in a lot of small businesses. It won't stop there. It's going to continue going throughout the year. Somebody said you had to know your numbers. Who said that earlier? Yes, ma'am. I expect to see you here on Thursday, September 22nd with Meridia Hatch. She talks about getting to know your numbers, accounting 101. She owns an accounting firm. She's going to come in and show you the basics you can to make sure your finances are under control. Gentleman's going to come back and talk about online marketing and why it matters, how to use paid versus organic ads. Then we're going to have branding as the foundation. This lady right here is no joke when it comes to getting your personal image out there, your brand, your company's reputation. Simone Keys is going to come out and talk about that. Then the gentleman who was walking around here to lead, he's going to talk about budget or bust. Okay, runs multi-million-dollar companies. Currently, he was a business advisor for the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses Program. He's going to come and talk about making sure your money is where it needs to be when it needs to be there. All right. And then after you make all that money, and Brent tried to say this very nicely, he said the people will come looking for you. Some of y'all didn't know who the people were. Okay. This lady's going to tell you how to keep your money and save the hassle with tax strategies. Okay. So we understand that small businesses have needs. We don't expect you to know how to do everything, but we can't teach you that in one session. So we want to let you know all of these are limited seating. We will be doing these throughout the year. You will get tons of communications about them. When they come out, sign up. When you sign up, show up, because this is going to be good information that you don't want to miss. I do want to thank all of you guys for coming out, and I'm open to answering questions. And I think this gentleman is going to kill me if I let y'all leave without trying this dope pickles. So there's some extra silverware. So if you want to get started, I'll openly answer any questions you guys may have. After that, I do need you to, I was going to say, while we're doing that, I do need you to go ahead and just start filling out that survey and just drop it off on your way out the door to this lovely young lady. And I'm ready for the dope pickles. Okay. And we'll go from there. But yes, ma'am, you had a question? Yep, I'm sure I can. You want to see me again? I'm just kidding. I will give out my email address. Absolutely. You want to be ready to write. It's really easy. It's my name, January, Januari. At, my company is Oxygen, like what you breathe, but it's spelled differently, Oxijan. Then incorporated, so INC, so we're at Oxygen Inc. Oxijaninc.com. So January at oxygeninc.com. All right, take pictures. Don't worry, we'll be communicating with you guys. We will not market to you. We won't spam. We'll just inform if that's okay with you. Anybody else have a question that I can answer for them today? All right. Say it again. Oxijaninc.com. Say it again. I'm gonna send an email anyway. It may not come from Oxygen, but you're gonna come from Eventbrite or somebody. Next slide, okay. All right, these pickles, I think folks waiting on them. They look like they about to hurt me. Hold on, I'm gonna advance it. All right, anybody else have a question while I'm advancing this slide? I'm gonna do it the old school way. You get the term? Okay. Any other questions today? Well, I want to thank you guys who are on Zoom. I know this was not the best way to do it because we ate good while you were at home. But you saved the $10 in gas per mile it would have taken to get here. So I think we're even, okay? Thanks for tuning in. Just a moment.